So I welcome a very distinguished guest who is a poet, who's an author, who is a speaker, who's a creative facilitator and a counselor. Please welcome Arpita Ghosh to this conversation meeting. Thank you, Arpita, for taking out time and coming over here. And I'm really very delighted to have a conversation with you.
Thank you, Naresh. It's my pleasure to be here, catching up with you over a conversation. I don't know where's the coffee, but then still, a conversation is always a great conversation.
Absolutely. So I go ahead and open a small box, which is in my hand, which you can see. It's transparent, but there are many small bubbles inside that. I'm just bubbling out one.
Okay.
The thing that I could, since you're very versatile, you have a lot of various things that you are into an institute or a university where you're teaching as well, and many other things that you have under your belt, which I said in the introduction. But all this taking together, the most important and the significant thing is, how do you see communication playing a very significant role in all the facets that you have under your belt in terms of being a poet, an author, or so to say, a creative facilitator, counselor, and how does it play a very significant role in building your confidence when you are, coming forth with all these things that are there? And a second part to this question is that how does confidence or communication plays a very significant role in confidence building for an individual?
Okay, so I will first touch upon communication. And if I have to really talk about exploring my own journey as a communicator, I don't think I ever looked at myself or even thought that I was like, a good communicator, because I did my PG in physical chemistry. Now, chemistry has got nothing to do with communication, but at the same time, I had identified that, yes, I have a flair for meeting people, interacting with people, talking to people. And I said, probably, I think I will fit into the sales and marketing line because I didn't have the chemistry for what chemistry had to really offer me. So that's when I got into a couple of sales and marketing jobs. And I think I worked with some of the best in the industry. Again, across the streams, whether it was office automation, whether it was home appliance, that is with Eureka Forbes, concept selling with Sterling Holiday Resorts, industry selling with ITW Signode and Advani Olicon. So I would build up a fantastic rapport with all my clients, and yes, that's again part of the way I communicated with them. And I clearly remember it was during my working stint with Eureka Forbes when my supervisor accompanied me on one of the rounds, and after he saw my interaction with the lady of the house, when we came out from there, he asked me, did you ever consider becoming a counselor? And I just looked at him and I said, no. That thought had never come to my mind. And this I'm talking about way back in early 90s. So today when I look back, I just think, sometimes you say universe keeps giving you messages and it's how you take it ahead. But then again, like I said, I continued till I felt that no, sales and marketing is not my cup of tea. So I took up a stopgap job with Ask Me Services, which again is giving information over telephone. And I think that was where one thing I discovered about myself, again, thanks to all the callers, that I had a very lovely voice where people were just, waiting to get me on the line, because we used to have a jumping line. So they would just wait and then they would compliment me on my voice. And that is the first time, I think, in my a little over 2+ decades of life that I felt I have a good voice. I need to do something about it. And that's when I went on to do my certificate course in voice modulation. Then I gave an audition in Akashvani. And I think the first duty that I ever did at All India Radio, the feel of sitting behind the console, alone in the studio, reaching out to I don't know how many thousands of people, the feeling that it gave me, and I was, yes, this is where I wish to be. So radio again is a different medium altogether, because when you're communicating, you cannot see any one of your listeners, but yet you talk to them as though they are very much there in front of you. And that is when again it just set me thinking, let me explore this level of communication, take it beyond this medium of radio. And that's when I started getting into advertising. Advertising was even more fun, because you had limited time that to just about seconds we were talking about, 30 seconds, 45 seconds, within which you had to actually communicate a story. So I started exploring my own potential as a communicator, communicating to the masses in different ways. So whether it was through advertising, then I got into television, and from television to journalism. And having explored all these mediums of communicating with the masses, somewhere I felt that, I am an effective communicator. But using my communication skills to, you could say, use it more positively or more constructively to impact another, that is when I said I need again another shift in the career. And that's when I went on to do my diploma in counseling and personality development with Dr. Tushar Guha at Vidyanjali. And then again, once I got into corporate training, there was absolutely no looking back. I started enjoying that, because then I started getting more satisfaction out of the work. Like I said, the journey of exploring myself as a communicator and using all these different mediums, finally getting into training where the bottom line was impacting individuals, or in whatever way, affecting another positively. So that was a very beautiful journey. But then the creative Kira in me never left me or never let me rest. And that's when I started again exploring how can I make my training sessions more interesting, more interactive, more effectful. And then came along dance movement therapy, voice movement therapy, art, drama. And I just felt that expressive arts is such a beautiful way of communicating ourselves. What is deep within can just find an outlet somewhere. What I also noticed, since we are talking about communication, Naresh, interacting with the youngsters, and in the digital world that we are, most often I find that people are so connected to this mobile phone of theirs, and they are perpetually this way. So when it's an actual interaction, they are totally at a loss. And that is where it started affecting their communication skills. So I feel, yes, communication becomes a very, very important way of talking to each other. And it's not just verbal, but the importance of body language, the non-verbal communication that we have. And I'm sure you're also aware of, there is this, I think it's Human Connect based in Australia, where they have this, events where you just connect by gazing into each other's eyes. So, of course, we have this again as part of some of our modules too. But yes, so exploring communication at all levels. And coming to the second part of it, communication connected to confidence. Because like I always say, somewhere our communication skills are definitely dependent, or rather go hand in hand with our level of confidence in the self. Because I know people who can speak nonsense with confidence. That is one level of confidence. The other level of confidence is when you believe in yourself. Because today, if somebody has to hear us or hear any individual, they've got to hear that confidence in the voice. They've got to see the confidence in the body language. So confidence is something which is has to be rightly, placed. From within, it has to come out, and it shows in all forms of your communication. The more confident you are, that much better you are in communicating to the rest of the world.
Wonderful. Very well explained, Arpita, with respect to your journey and also communication with confidence. How well articulated and spelled out. Very easy to understand and to the point.
Yeah, like one line, I will sum it up when it comes to confidence and communication. It's feel it, mean it, say it.
Yeah, very nice.
That's how it is.
Minute say it. Very nice. Very nice.
Yeah.
All right. So taking this forward with respect to your journey ahead, and where you mentioned that theatre came along as a part of your movement forward in the journey. So how do you, or do you feel theatre plays a very significant role in building an individual to become aware of himself? Because most of the things that are for an individual, it's within. And through applied theatre or through if I may say, the movements that are there, can a person or can an individual become more aware about himself?
Okay. So, Naresh, I'm sure by now you would have realized that I've been one person, and I consider myself very lucky and blessed that life has taught me. So, there's been a lot of experiential learning for me. Living my life has been very, learning from my life experiences, and which is why probably I believe that experiential learning is the best way of learning. And obviously, I don't want people to go through the kind of, rough patches that I have gone through to learn. I would rather help them to learn in a better way. So again, when we are talking about theatre, now, for me, the turning point in my life came when I was just about 30 and I lost my mother. And that's, when you see death so closely, you kind of want to question what is life, what is death, what is our purpose of existence. And all those questions led me to, get into Vedanta. And the more I started understanding Vedanta, that much more I started understanding life. And I realized that I can actually have those kind of thoughts and get it manifested. So, like I said, I explored so much of media, but there was one area which was still left, and that was acting. So, stage acting was something which I held very close to my heart. And as I kept talking to friends, I did get an opportunity to perform live on stage, and this was for a Bengali drama. That was my first learning, where I could actually connect what I had heard my Swamiji say, and when I was there on the stage, because one particular scene required a very, very emotional outburst. I mean, I actually it was hurt, pain, and then an outburst of anger. And in that, I slapped the other character, and then it was an exit. And while I exited from there and was getting ready for the next entry of mine, which was about, 2 scenes later, I realized that this is what happens to us in life, real life. We play different roles. Now, if I had to carry that particular emotion of mine into that next entry, I wouldn't be doing justice to that over there. So the moment I exited from there, I had to just shed everything. Shed everything as in shed my emotions of that particular moment right over there. That was the first learning. And then after I finished with the entire play, and people actually came up to me and acknowledged it. They were means, because some of them really knew me well, and they said, "Aaj to rula diya aapne," But I again started introspecting on that entire thing, and I said, we again get so caught up with the different roles that we play. Role of sister, daughter, friend, teacher, mother, so many different roles. And if I am going to carry forward the baggage of one role into another, it's not going to work. So I need to drop what that particular role demands over there when I'm playing another role. So that is where my interest in, looking into how much could dramas contribute to our learning as an individual, the self-awareness part of it. That's when psychodrama also came in, and I realized that it is so important to be aware of what are the thoughts that are coming up, because it's from the thoughts that the emotions arise.
Absolutely.
If I have happy thoughts, if I have joyous thoughts, I'm feeling good about everything. But then if I have negative thoughts, if I have sad memories, automatically I feel down. So then I need to look into and see from where is this emotion coming, what is the trigger. So self-awareness plays a very important part in being aware, and if you're aware of the thoughts that are coming up, you can definitely then take care of how you feel. So that's why we say change the thoughts, change your feelings. And when we're looking into incorporating applied art in our way of training sessions, how does it help a person's communication, confidence? So let's first again begin with confidence. Confidence in terms of your body language, because somewhere you learn to shed your inhibitions. And the moment you start shedding your inhibitions physically, you're comfortable with yourself, with what you are, your height, your weight, your complexion, everything about you, there's a kind of grace that comes into you.
Yes.
And that automatically, gives a different kind of, it exudes a different kind of confidence. So that is how it helps you when you get into theater, because you're getting into different roles. A different, if you're playing the role of a dejected lover, your body language is different. If you're playing the role of a CEO or a boss, your body language. So the more you keep shedding all those inhibitions, that much more you build up your confidence. Now, again, when you're looking at role play during the training session, when we look at role play and all, we're also working on our communication skills.
Right.
Because when we talk about communication skills, it's about, the language you use, the choice of words you're using, and what is it that you are communicating through your tone. I may be feeling a little angry, but at the same time, I may not be angry, but at the same time, my tone is conveying that I'm irritated. And this is what drama helps us to understand about ourselves. So, you just enact a particular scene and then you ask the audience that, okay, what was it that you felt over here? What was it that was coming through? What was a word that was used, or what was a body language? Was there a sync in it? So applied theatre can play a fantastic role in helping an individual to be aware of themselves, to be aware of the triggers, because again, if you get into a little bit of psychodrama or playback theatre for that matter, it helps you to explore that part of you, and you understand your triggers. So once you're in control of your triggers and everything, then yes, emotional intelligence, confidence, communication, everything falls into it.
Wonderful. Arpita, going forward with your connection with being an author, being a poet, how did you, in this entire journey, while you are teaching, while you are already into a space where you are interacting with so many people, came your other side of yourself, that is being an author, being a poet? How did this venture, or how did you go into that? Can you share a little part of that?
Yeah, sure. So when it comes to, like I said, I think writing was always there with me, and which is why I always encourage everybody, again, as a counselor, the journaling. It becomes very important for us to do that journaling, and what must have started off as journaling for me finally came down to, expressions as poems, thoughts, because, and like I said, once you get into the journey of exploring life purpose, existence, anything you look at, they become metaphors for you. So, which is why, today when it's when you are looking at a tree, you can look beyond the tree, because the tree can give you so much. So, we draw a tree of life. Sometimes, when we are doing the training sessions, we say, okay, let's create our tree of life. So where the roots become